I'd like to welcome you to WCPT AM's Out Chicago. Think of us as Sunday brunch with your gay best friends. Now please welcome your host, Scott Duff.
And a happy Sunday fun day to everybody out there. Scott Duff here, along with Ellen Miller.
Good morning, Scott Duff.
Good morning. Are y'all talking about the madness that is March?
We were a little
There was
bit.
some stuff. Yeah, I know that there's sports things happening.
There are. It gives you something to do in this time of year. Sports are pretty bad in Chicago for Chicago teams
Right.
generally.
Yeah.
And this year is no exception.
Okay.
So the March Madness gives us
something to root for. I know.
Exactly.
My sister, she actually drove from Iowa to South Bend, Indiana to go check out the Lady Irish.
Oh, good for her.
Yeah, they went and
Did they win?
They did.
Oh, good.
Yeah. She's a big supporter of the lady of women's sports.
Good. I love that.
Yeah.
That's good.
Yeah. So I understand.
Yeah, you get it.
Yeah. There's something that's
It's
a distraction while we're waiting for we are waiting for the sun to come out.
Yeah, waiting for the sun to come out, and metaphorically and physically.
Literally. Yeah. But we're gonna shine some sun.
You sure are.
On you today. We got a really good show. March 30th. Look, we've got an action thing. We've got actions for you, stuff that you can do. March 30th is a protest and a march for trans rights at Federal Plaza, organized by Trans Upfront Illinois in partnership with Indivisible Chicago. Executive Director for Trans Upfront Illinois, Asher McMayer, is going to be joining us later this hour to fill in all of the details about what's going on. And About Face Theater is proud to present the return of Regeneration Studio, a weekend of community building, education, and performance to help build the future of queer theater. Artistic Director Megan Carney is back with us.
Oh, we love Megan.
We love Megan.
Good to
We
have
love
her back.
Megan. I might be a part of it too.
We got to hear about that.
I don't know. And tonight is the Chicago premiere of the new opera, The Listeners, by Missy Mazzoli and Royce Vavrek at Lyric Opera of Chicago. It is a genre-defying opera whose unsettling narrative forewarns how isolation drives the search for human connection under the guise of an improbable sound. Basically, there's a big hum that happens and people are hearing it.
Yeah.
And this weird thing happens. I know, I'm very excited. And we're going to be chatting with celebrated librettist Royce Vavrek later on in the show. And of course, we would love to hear from you. So give us a call at 773-763-9278. That number again is 773-763-9278. Of course, you can find us on Facebook, where we are coming at you live. Just head on over to Out Chicago Radio. While you're there, give us a click and a like and a share and all that good stuff. But if that doesn't float your boat, you can always tune in on WCPT. And while you're at it, follow WCPT and our sister network, Heartland Signals, on all socials. All socials. You can, if you're near a smart speaker, you can just say, hey.
That's what I do.
Hey Google, or hey Alexa, play WCPT on your TuneIn app. Yeah. There we are. How are you doing?
I'm doing just well. I had kind of a laid-back week. I had cataract surgery.
Oh, yeah. I know you came in rocking some Terminator glasses going on there.
Glasses on here.
Yeah.
I can't wear eye makeup, so I should be wearing these glasses for the whole show. For those of you watching on Facebook, I can't wear makeup for a while. But, yeah, it went fine. It's a pretty simple surgery.
How do they do that?
Well, they treat you like you're, like you're having a regular surgery. I had to be at the hospital at 6:20 a.m. on Thursday.
Ooh.
And then they give you a twilight anesthesia.
Okay,
and
so you're just
put numbing drops in your eye, and then they give you an anesthesia. Then you have to be in a gown, and you're in the hospital.
Yeah.
I did a laser thing where I think the laser, I'm not sure. You pay extra for it, but you go under something that, I could barely, I could just kind of remember a little bit of it.
Because you were twilighting.
I was twilighting.
There we are.
And
Team Edward or Team Jacob?
I don't know.
It's a Twilight joke.
I don't know which team it was.
I've never mind.
But Team Dr. Corey, he's a doctor.
Go Dr. Corey.
Anyway, so I think they removed the cataract. See, a cataract has a hardening on your surface of your eyeball.
Yeah.
And I really wasn't having that much trouble with it, but he pointed out the longer you wait, the
more,
harder it gets.
yeah.
And I'm like, okay, you got me. All right, because I was supposed to do it last June, and I was all set. And I had a gig come up, and I'm like, I got a gig.
I got a gig, can't do it.
I'm going to do it. And then I was supposed to do it in November, and I go, I really want to see this concert. It's all shit.
This is typical Ellen Miller. This is typical
Priorities.
Priorities. I know.
It was elective surgery, so I elected. Okay, it's the one thing I elected that I could actually elect.
I love it.
And so this was a good time of year to do it because it was perfect. Because I got home, I was home literally before 9 a.m.
Oh wow! All right, so
and just
got there, got in, get out,
and I had it done in my right eye in 2021, and I got home, and my cousin wanted to me to write an offer for her, and the doctor said, "Yeah, just your left eye's covered anyway, so you're fine." And sure enough, when I got home, Kathy was doing the typing stuff, but we were working literally from the time I got, and like business has been a little
shaky,
in our real estate world, but not that morning after.
Well, thank goodness they knew. They knew that you were ready. You had a captive audience. Like, come on!
It made the day go by, and then the games, the NCAA March Madness games started soon after I got home. So
great.
It was good. I get a little.
Can
antsy.
you watch TV?
Yeah, you can.
Okay, did you have to wear your special glasses for those?
No. He said if I needed to, I could, but I didn't need to inside.
All right.
Some people wear them inside. There's a lot of getting used to some stuff, but so
I'm glad it went well.
It went
and
well.
They are all on the road to recovery.
Yeah, he said, 2 per customer. That's it.
There we go.
You're done.
Done and done. All right.
Yeah, so my eyesight is good now. I want, I have
Did
one.
you get any special powers? Like, can you see through walls now, or can you?
I'm still like.
They might develop.
I'm still working up those powers.
Okay, cool.
Yeah, I am.
Cool.
But I do have monovision, so like a lot of people, I have one eye that sees far and one eye that sees close, which means I never need
Can
glasses.
you see around corners then?
Yeah.
Because it seems like that'd be some sort of like shifted, like you can bend
I don't
time.
know, but I'll try.
Oh my God! See, I knew. I've always said that you had superpowers, and then they were just about ready to pop forward.
That. But that's been my big news. I also woke up that morning and I lost a friend of mine who was a childhood friend. We grew up in Prospect Heights. I was friends with his sister, who was my age, but we knew him too. And he was kind of on the dark side politically. But he was one friend that I got rid of a lot of friends on social media that I just couldn't stand the rhetoric.
That was happening.
But he was one I did not, because he was a kind person, and he had his beliefs, but he wasn't like mean and condescending about it, and how some people can, how some can get. And I'm glad that I didn't. The last thing I wrote, he had a birthday in October, and I wished him a happy birthday, and he wrote back and thanked me. No one knew he was sick. We still don't know what happened. He was 69 years old, but when you start losing the childhood friends, like all of us were texting from our group that went to school in Prospect Heights, and it kind of throws you for a loop when
Yeah.
I mean, but
It's weird, yeah.
But I am glad that I kept a civil relationship with him. It's kind of a lesson. I bring it up because I lost a friend a few years ago that I had cut off after the 2016 election because her husband was such a diehard Trumper that he had affected her. Little did I know she had left him, was on to somebody else. Well, she was on the show with us once. My friend, that she was a hairdresser, and I was taking her to the airport.
Oh yeah.
And she came in and talked about how she was open and welcoming to her trans clients.
Yeah, doing trans hair.
And she got pancreatic cancer, and before I didn't even know she had it. She was gone several weeks later.
Oh my gosh.
So and I had cut off communication with her. So the lesson, obviously, if you care about people, and whether it's family members or high school friends or whatever it is, if they're good people, just try and keep your relationship as civil and loving as you can without delving into politics.
Yeah.
But so I did learn that lesson last time, that if it's somebody that you like generally, and you think they're a good person, that don't throw the baby out with the bathwater. Don't just get rid of them, because someday they may be gone and you may have regrets. So
Yeah.
so it's been kind of a interesting few days for me.
I hear it. Yeah, I went to
And
a funeral yesterday
you went to
for Jody Andre's celebration of life.
And how did that?
It was lovely.
Tell our listeners who Jody was.
Jody Andre, she was a restaurateur here in Chicago. She was kind of a pioneer in the Andersonville neighborhood.
Yep.
I think it seems to be just based on all the stories that we had yesterday. Tomboy was kind of like the big, the thing that had the biggest impact on folks.
And it was a lesbian-owned restaurant.
It was a lesbian-owned restaurant.
There were that was very lesbian-oriented.
Yeah,
back
in the day, it was like in the late '90s through the early 2000s. Andersonville really was the land of lesbians and lingonberries, and that's what I always called it. Very Swedish, very lesbian, lots of ladies, and there was. There were women-owned business. Stargaze was right across the street.
Women and Children was there, of course.
Women and Children's like been there forever.
Yeah.
But there was a bunch of different places, and Tomboy was this fabulous restaurant. Women-owned, women operated. There were women. The women ran the kitchen. Jody ran the front. It was great. It was a welcoming environment for all people, especially during times when it was still a little weird to, the big thing for the LGBTQ moment in the 90s was visibility. It was about getting out there. And that wasn't always great. I mean, there were still darkened windows, which is so weird to think about, in our time but for going into gay bars there, you couldn't see inside. So people couldn't get, identified.
Hopefully we don't go back there, but that's another discussion.
That is another thing. But so she was a big restaurateur. She opened up Tomboy, then The Room, then Speakeasy, and then she had another venture in Oak Park a couple years ago, and then I think she kind of was stepping back. But it was really wonderful to see some folks who I hadn't seen in 20 years or so, and there was a slideshow and there were some pictures. I'm like, oof, it was just there was one picture of me. I'm like, did I steal Audrey Hepburn's neck? I was like, look at this. It was just crazy to see pictures of,
I know.
from 25 years ago.
Was there anybody you reconnected with that you hope to see again, or maybe rekindle?
Oh, yeah, 100%. Yeah. My friend Daniel. It was so funny because the night before, we were, I went to, there was this wonderful thing. I'm sorry, I'm just trying to.
Take all the time you need.
I know, I'm just getting a little. So, yes, it was wonderful to reconnect with people. It was great to see folks. Just kind of what you were saying in terms of making sure that you don't lose those connections. Jody and I had kind of drifted apart. We were still in contact and everything. But as I was leaving, I went up to her partner and I was like, just to introduce myself because there were so many people there from so many different parts of her life. And I was like, hi, I'm Scott. And she went, wait, are you Scott Duff? And I'm like, yeah. And she's like, oh my God. She talked about you all the time. She loved you. And, so it was.
Yeah, you never know how someone, until sadly sometimes they're gone and someone's, wow, you meant a lot to them, or they talked about you a lot, or there was something you did that they never forgot. And you're like, you just had no idea that they thought of you that way.
Yeah, it was lovely, and it kind of hit a little bit as I was leaving, going oof, that's hard. But again,
and she
celebrate.
She was a lover of music. I got to know her through her love of music because she loved Kathy Richardson, who's our friend, and she had Kathy perform several times at both Speakeasy and Tomboy, and I was a part of those shows.
Yeah, Speakeasy. I really wish Speakeasy had taken off because she was Michael Feinstein was a partner in it.
Oh, that's right. I forgot that.
Yeah,
I knew that, and I forgot it.
And he played there. There was a beautiful performance venue. Years later, the building was still there, and On Common Ground took over.
Oh, they did? Is anything there now?
No, I think they finally. Well, the way they came.
It was an old funeral home, wasn't it?
Was it?
Yeah, I think so.
That tracks.
I
mean, it would seem like that, but the way it came to Jody was, the building, some developer wanted to tear it down and turn it into condos.
Of course.
And somebody had like bought it, fixed it up into a restaurant for like somebody wealthy, like for their daughter who was a chef, and the daughter's like, I don't want to do this. I'm going to blah, like New York, or whatever. So they had this restaurant
turnkey, ready to go,
basically. And they're like, and Jody's like, I can't pass this up. Like this will not happen.
Oh.
So it was kind of like a third one, and it was just kind of lots of plates spinning.
Yeah.
But Michael Feinstein came on board.
Did she know him from?
Well, he was partnered with her quote unquote brother, like basically like her adopted brother kind of situation. They were together, so they all went in together to do this, and it was a really beautiful venue.
It was great.
It was a great venue. It was always super fun, and Jody Andre was always the consummate host. She just wanted to make sure that everybody felt fabulous.
Always had a big smile on her face.
Always had a big smile on her face, and her Nat Sherman sticking out of her mouth. Those long brown cigarettes. So that was lovely, and it was great to be around community.
Yes. Yes.
And to reconnect with some folks. It was also odd watching the slideshow to realize how many other people
weren't there
who were lost, like who died. It's like, I'm going like, oh, you're gone. Wow. So it was just it was an emotional day.
Aging thing is not for the faint of heart.
It is not for the faint of heart. But one thing that was really wonderful, on Friday, I went to this community dinner during the pandemic. This amazing human, Cat Pham, she had started a food delivery service, and basically she also just kind of opened up her home. Like, hi, she put on like 2 cauldrons of pho. I mean, like, there's pho, come and get it. Like, just to people who were like, who couldn't afford things right now, who, just as a way to give to the community. Nice. And she started a food delivery service so that when you would buy like her traditional, she made all traditional Vietnamese food, like the food that she grew up with. And if you bought meals, you would get 2, and you needed to give that other one away. So it was a way to have people connect. Like, you had to actually physically bring it to somebody to create connection, to create community. Like, hey, I'm just thinking about you. Here's some food. And food, like me, for many people and for you, it's like a love language. So she is hoping to open up her home for these community dinners, and she reached out to my friend who has been a big supporter and a big advocate, like promoting her, telling all her, like getting word of mouth. And she's like, bring 8 of your friends. And so we went and had this beautiful dinner, and we brought, wine and NA drinks and just mochi and pie, and like we helped with the dishes and we helped set up, and we just sat, and I'd met her maybe once or twice. Wow, yeah. And it was a really wonderful time just to kind of gather together. There were some people that I did not know, so it was truly a community experience. And it was just wonderful to sit together, be in the same room. Nobody was on a phone. We were just there, and we were, nourishing our bodies and hearing stories and swapping experiences and trading ideas. And it was a wonderful, wonderful. It was great.
And a lot of levels. Beautiful.
Yeah, it was great. And also, I want to give a big shout out, because I know we got to take a break. Yeah. I want to give a big shout out to Writers Theater. I was a part of their show and tell storytelling series. Well, I am finally not sick. I had been down with that weird cold, flu-y thing that's kind of going around right now. And the second that I stepped up to the mic, I lost my voice. So it was awful. Well, it wasn't too bad. It was great.
You got through it.
It went well. But there was, about 2 minutes into the second story, there was a medical emergency in the audience. And I want to say, give a big old, shout out to the incredible staff at Writers Theater who,
They were on it.
They were on it. They handled it. It was so smooth and wonderful, and everybody felt kind of taken care of. We were able to like restart the show. Everything is okay with the person who was having an event, but really the professionalism, the expertise, the calm, the poise that people had at Writers Theater. I always love going up to Glencoe to go.
It's a beautiful space.
It's a beautiful space and filled with beautiful people who handled everything with grace. So the shout out to Writers Theater. And if you want to go check out their next storytelling show, it's pay what you can, generally a $15. It was a huge turnout. It was great. And it's in their beautiful atrium lobby. You know how they have those like built up things with cushions on there? Everybody was sitting up there. It was beautiful. You got this wonderful glass walls, like these windows all around you so you can see outside, see the sunset. It's stunning. It's going to be happening on April 15th on tax day, and the theme is death and taxes. So...
And this one was some famous
Brush with Celebrity.
And what was yours?
Mine, Brush with Celebrity, was when I went to the premiere of the movie for The Immortal Life of Henrietta Lacks in New York with Oprah. Yes, and me trying to hug her and smell her.
And smell her.
Like Liz Lemon on 30 Rock. Do you remember that episode on 30 Rock?
No, but I love 30 Rock.
Oh my gosh, I love 30 Rock. That episode, she had to fly to Chicago because she got called for jury duty. And she always wears her Princess Leia outfit. And she's like, I don't think it's fair that I serve on the juries. And so I can read people's minds, you know? And she gets out, but she was a nervous flyer. So she had taken something. And sitting next to her on the way back to New York was Oprah.
Oh my God.
And so... It's really funny.
I got to find that episode.
Yeah. Well, here's the thing too, and another like hat tip to Tina Fey and the folks at 30 Rock. That there are a couple episodes that you cannot find because they used blackface as a punctuation, as a joke, because you have there was this racial element that went through the show with Tracy Morgan and Jane Krakowski, and they were just like two stupid, egotistical stars, and they would do things where he's like, I'm going to be white, and she's like, I'm going to be black, blah, blah, blah. And so they pulled it. They pulled those episodes.
So never to be seen again?
Yes, you can find, but
maybe on the dark web
you can find on the YouTubes just the chunk of Liz Lemon talking to Oprah on the plane.
But not the whole episode.
Not the whole episode. But I think at the same time, I'm like, you know what? Good on you.
What season was that? Do you remember?
Oh, God. I don't know.
Because Kathy got me one of the seasons. I have a VHS.
Do you have a VHS to play?
I do.
Oh, my gosh. All right.
Just in case for situations like this.
There we are. I don't know. I can look for it. I'm not sure. But but it's very funny. So, but anyway, that was my story. I wanted to smell her like Oprah did. I mean, like Tina Fey did.
How long was the story?
Oh, like 7 minutes. You know, they're short. There were just 5 storytellers. It was an hour sort of thing. There was a little brief intermission to deal with the medical emergency,
and then on with the show.
And it was wonderful and great.
Fantastic.
We definitely need to take a little break. Here, but before we go, this part about Chicago is brought to you by Team Hochberg. Hey, attention listeners, financial planners, CPAs, and divorce attorneys. If you are wondering why your mortgage professional has not returned your calls, it's probably because they are one of over 165,000 mortgage professionals who didn't renew their license over the past 24 months. If you're purchasing a new home or refinancing your existing home, you need to call Team Hochberg, your trusted local lender. In the past 24 months, while other companies have been shutting down and loan officers are not renewing their licenses, Team Hochberg has been adding loan officers, is stronger than ever, and would love to earn your business. Now let's review. In the past 24 months, mortgage companies have closed over 165,000 loan officers, have closed, and over 165,000 loan officers have exited the mortgage business, while Team Hochberg has expanded and is stronger than ever. So if you'd like to work with experienced mortgage professionals, call Team Hochberg now at 855-563-2843 or visit 56david.com. The number again is 855-563-2843. 833-2843 or visit 56david.com. Lower.com, equal housing lender, NMLS 1124061. We're going to take a quick break, and when we come back, there's more Out Chicago right here on WCPT Heartland Signal.
I'm Amanda Civitello, creating Iris. Welcome back to Out Chicago on WCPT.
Welcome back to Out Chicago. Scott Duff here, along with Ellen Miller, rolling along on a blustery day. It's very windy out there.
It is. It's going to get windier.
Everyone knows it's windy. Bum, 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 bum.
My favorite song when I was a kid.
It's a good song.
Love that song.
My
dad got the album on his...
Who is that?
The Association.
The Association?
They also did "Cherish is the word I use to describe," and that my dad got the album. He had that Capitol Records Club. Those RCA. He was a member of those, so he'd always give me a couple of picks.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, and so I picked the Association.
Come on, the Association.
And I listened to it over and over and over.
It's a good song.
Like I was probably 10, 9.
All right, yeah.
I loved it. Still, I knew it's still good.
It's a good song.
Yeah.
The song I was obsessed with when I was 10 was "Heart Attack" by Olivia Newton-John. Yeah.
I was too old for that.
You were never too old for Olivia Newton-John.
No, I do like Olivia. I saw her at Market Days. Did you see her at Market Days?
I did not. I don't go to Market Days. I don't go to Market Days.
David Cassidy and her I saw.
Wow, all right.
I saw some good people there back in the day.
Oh, yeah. Market Days, I get too panicky. It's too close. There are too many people.
I haven't been in a while. I was younger then.
Anyway, there we. So it looks like the Department of Education is square in the sights of Ding Dong.
Yeah.
How wonderful. Yeah. This week he signed an executive order directing the Federal Department of Education to come up with a way to shut it down. Yay! So in case you were confused out there, the Department of Education's main job doesn't dictate curriculum. That is a state level thing. Is distributing money to college students through grants and loans. It also sends federal money to K through 12 schools targeted towards low income and disabled students and enforces anti-discrimination laws. It plays a big role in funding and disseminating research on education, but that has already been affected by the huge cutbacks that he's already implemented. It's kind of a big thing, especially for folks who need the assistance. And, again, this is all going towards the whole privatization. Let's give some money for those charter schools and all these things. It's just driving me crazy. But there was a very interesting piece, a Substack piece by Robert Reich, who is the Secretary of Labor under President Clinton, addressing the impending doom of the Education Department. And he asked, what is the larger picture? Not an attack on the liberal state, as I keep reading, not the culmination of Trump's culture wars, certainly not that Trump is seeking small government over big government or advancing traditional conservatism over traditional liberalism. What's really occurring is an attack on the American mind. Throughout history, tyrants have understood that their major enemy is an educated citizenry. Slaveholders prohibited the enslaved from learning to read. Nazis burned books. Putin and Xi censored the media. Ignorance is the handmaiden of tyranny. End quote. That, again, was Robert Reich, Secretary of Labor under President Clinton.
Boy, was it evident in the last election.
Yeah, but it's true.
It is true.
It's very, very true. And they're going after all of these huge things right now. He's attacked higher education, gutting NIH, which provides a large portion of biomedical research, freedom of speech for university students and professors. We're seeing that play out right now. Truth in American history about, particularly around the Civil War and enslaved folks and the genocide of indigenous peoples. Public libraries, they're banning books. They're going after funding. Museums and cultural institutions like the Kennedy Center. He just doesn't want America to think.
Or he just wants them to think like him. That's the only way we're allowed to think. Because liberal thought is not the kind of thinking he wants to see.
But it's yes, it is dictating what can and cannot be learned, and that is not thinking. That is not being having a breadth of experiences. Right. You know, these.
He loves the uneducated. He said it himself.
Yes, he did. But doesn't it drive you crazy?
Yes, it drives me crazy. The whole thing is driving me crazy, and you know there's so many ramifications of this. One of them being, you know, special ed. You know, individuals that needs, you know, special education, and it's federally managed in a lot of cases. And you know, the Department of Education has ensured that people with disabilities receive services.
Yeah.
And some of these states, yeah, some are going to be better at it than others, but certainly they're not going to be. There's states in the South. We don't have, you know, Mississippi, Louisiana, you know, these southern states that are just way behind, Tennessee, Kentucky in education. And how do they say they want the state to control it. Well, the state hasn't done a good job with their education of the general population. For in many cases, how are they going to handle people with special needs?
Yeah, well,
I just really, really heartbreaking.
Yeah, the thing that also feeds into that is when they're talking about. I'm sure it was just some sort of like chumming the water, so we all take the bait. But when they're like, we're going to get rid of taxes for people who don't pay, who make under what was it, like under $150,000 or something. There was something that they floated out about. They're going to be done with income taxes. You know, of course, because nobody wants to pay taxes. They're already going after, like, you don't have to pay taxes
Which they do in certain states already.
But, I mean, no, a federal tax.
Oh, I thought you said state
the
tax.
federal tax.
Oh, getting rid of it on the whole for the federal.
Getting on the federal level.
Right.
Which, of course, like, this is how we get money to fund these projects. Like helping people learn.
And what was their rationale for how are they going to get the funding?
Well, they didn't even talk about that. They didn't talk about any of that sort of stuff. You know, so that is the thing. If the Department of Education goes away, where are they going to get the money for this? Where are they going to be doing all this stuff? And the in Project 2025, they are talking about like a patriot education. Like, so things you can only talk about America in a good light. You cannot be critical of anything that is happening or has happened. Again, it's about rewriting history.
Welcome to the USSR.
Yeah, and that's the part that really is scary.
Yeah, very scary.
You know, a
scary.
part of an education about being exposed to different things is you increase your world view. You are privy to other people's experiences, what people have gone through, other people's histories, and that can help generate empathy.
That doesn't fit in with America First.
It does not fit in with America First, which is, of course, the lovely Klan model. I'm sorry, I'm rolling over my coat, and it's driving me crazy. But I mean, this is. It's a problem. It's a big problem. You know, education right now is so hard. I've talked to many people who are like, look, these cell phones, they've created addicts out of these. You take cell phones away from a student, and they actually have forms of withdrawal. They are irritable. They can't pay attention. They lose focus very, very easily, and it's because people are on their phones. Everything. People are not reading books anymore.
Or interacting with each other.
Or interacting with one another. Yeah,
yeah,
that's a huge thing. We're losing the ability to have for critical thinking, to look at an issue from multiple sides to see what we can do to fix things. You know, people are literacy rates. We've never been great at literacy rates. And in 2024, this is according to the National Literacy Institute, the U.S. ranks 31st in literacy. 21% of the adults in the United States are illiterate in 2024.
Really
54% of adults have the literacy below a 6th grade level, and 20% are below a 5th grade level. So low levels of literacy cost the U.S. up to $2.2 trillion a year. We need
more education, not less education.
We need more education. We need to be focusing on, again, like on critical thinking and learning how to interact with people. I believe Dr. Amy was just talking about a whole thing on the show before us, was talking about how to increase your personal communication skills. Those things are hard. And they're not being taught right now.
For a whole generation plus.
Yeah. So it's, and then like attacking the cultural institutions that are happening, like the Kennedy Center. Here's the part that just kind of makes my eyes roll back into my head. Okay. A little confession time. So I have a very soft spot in my heart for the musical Cats.
Yes, I know.
I know. It's a problem, and it's a really good show. It's a really good show. I always made fun, like my students, when I was a teacher, my students were like, they made fun of me for it. They actually made little, like, they photoshopped my face onto like Cats posters and things. So there were a bunch of cats. And,
it's a show of their love
earlier this week, one of my former students, who's now a dad, and and I went to his wedding, he texted me, he's like, just sent this little clip about how now Ding Dong wants to have non-woke plays going at the Kennedy Center like Cats.
Like Cats.
And I'm like, no!
Not my cats. Don't use that as an example.
No, we can't be on the same page about this. Anyway.
And the non-woke thing, nothing irritates me more.
I don't get it.
Nothing irritates me more than hearing the wokeness has to go. It's about inclusivity. It's about, understanding. It's about having
empathy.
Compassion and empathy. What is wrong with people that think it is wrong to have those kinds of thoughts and behaviors?
It's funny you mentioned that, because Elon Musk said empathy is a sign of weakness, but now that people are burning down Tesla dealerships, he said, I thought the left had more empathy than this.
Oh, there he goes. Now he's looking for his empathy.
Oh, yeah. And, and now there's, freedom of speech, but there's right and wrong protests. It's like,
we see where it's going.
We see where it's going. And
so
we got to make sure that we keep our voices heard. We keep reading. We keep exploring new things. We try to travel, go to different places, live different experiences. That is how we grow as a human. That's how we grow as a country. If we innovation. America was the head of innovation. Now what's going on? Like, because people are, I don't know. It gets me mad.
Just 3 3/4 years left.
I know. Oh, God.
But who's counting?
I know. It's only been
not even
not even 2 months.
I know.
Like just barely 2 months. 2 months and 3 days. Ugh. And there's so much stuff that they're coming after her for. And here's the thing. It's wonderful to bitch and moan and complain about things, because that kind of feels good, but it doesn't do anything except put some negativity out into the world and just continue the divide. But we're going to take a break because our next guest, we're going to have something to take action.
Some action. That's
over.
What we need.
Yeah, because next Sunday, Trans Upfront Illinois, in partnership with Indivisible Chicago, is organizing a march and protest at Federal Plaza. There is something really, really important about community and about people stepping out and getting out onto the streets. So if you want to feel like you are doing something, stick around. You're not going to want to miss this. So you're listening to Out Chicago right here on WCPT Heartland Signal.
I'm Jay Nair with Tricone Chicago. Welcome back to Out Chicago on WCPT.
And welcome back to Out Chicago. Scott Duff here, along with Ella Miller, rolling along, and we're getting ready to march. Because next Sunday, on March 30th, Trans Upfront Illinois, in partnership with Indivisible Chicago, is organizing a march and protest at Federal Plaza. This powerful protest aims to demand justice, equality, and recognition for transgender and non-binary individuals. And joining us now is Executive Director for Trans Upfront Illinois, Asher McMayer. Asher, welcome to the show.
Thank you so much for having me.
Thank you for taking time out. First of all, I have to let you know that you have several super fans out there. I reached out to a friend of mine who is the parent of a trans child. I was like, hey, just to let you know, like, because she had been sending me like information about the march, like the march is coming, blah, blah, blah. I'm like, hey, I just want to let you know I'm having them on the show this year. And my friend just replied, all caps, Asher! I was like, wait, do you know them? And she's like, no, I don't know them, but they're everywhere and they're just wonderful. And so just to let you know, super fans out there, Asher.
Oh, that warms my heart. And I've been working with parents of trans individuals in the state of Illinois for almost a decade now. I've worked with over 400 families who have trans kids and young adults as they navigate healthcare, education, coming out to family, friends, pretty much everything from A to Z. My heart, and I'm a parent of a trans person as well as a trans person, really lives with those parents as they do their best to support their children, especially during this time.
Yeah, well, again, thank you for that. Just wanted to make sure that you know that your work is deeply appreciated by several people here. So can you tell our listeners a little bit about the history and the mission of Trans Upfront Illinois?
Yeah, absolutely. So even though I've been doing this work as well as a lot of advocates individually for a decade, we came together and formed Trans Upfront Illinois in response to all the executive orders with the Trump administration. And really the Trans Upfront is to center trans voices, trans needs in this time. We wanted all the work that we're doing not to be about any one individual or one family, but bringing together the community and amplifying the work that needs to be done, amplifying the horror that we are facing currently, and really just bonding and creating a place where everyone can feel heard, seen, and validated and get the support and resources they need.
Yeah, so just to stick with that for a second, so the folks that you have been working with and that you have encountered, especially within the trans and non-binary communities, what has been the response to this administration? I'm sure that's a pretty dumb question because I think I know the answer, but what has been the reactions and like which policies have really kind of been hitting folks the most?
You know, we started right off the gate January 20th with the Trump administration just eliminating our existence. Right. And removing transgender, gender nonconforming, non-binary individuals and stating that we just simply don't exist, which you can put anything you want into writing. But at the end of the day, trans people have always been here and will continue to be here. There's no document out there that's going to erase who we are and our visibility. The one thing that has stemmed from this administration is the coalition that Trans Upfront has built. We have over 50 supporting organizations, from national organizations such as GLAAD and Lambda Legal down to small grassroots organizations such as ours or Worthy Community Center in Worth, Illinois, really coming together. We meet every week to talk about how to best support our communities, about the protests and ways that we can show up. We say that we will show up. We are boots on the ground. We will be there for whoever needs it, including, for instance, we drove to Deerfield, right, based on the middle schooler who's being discriminated against. Yeah. With each one of these executive orders, we're bonding together and we're sharing resources because we know that we need to be one united community no matter what we do as our individual organizations to make sure that anyone who needs it, we can support them.
Asher, can you tell our audience a little bit more about the issue with the student that's happening, just came up this week?
Yeah, absolutely. And this story is not a unique one. I want to preface that, right? Over the last decade and more, I mean, we go back in history, discrimination on the basis of gender identity is not a new story. We are lucky living in Illinois that we are a sanctuary state. We have Executive Order 19-11 that Governor Pritzker put into place to protect our trans kids. We have so many levels of protection, but in Deerfield, we have a mother of a cisgender. So for those who don't know, cisgender is a child or an individual who identifies the same gender as they were assigned at birth, who is using her child to further her agenda of exclusion of trans students in schools, including access to locker rooms and bathrooms. And this mother aligns and is a part of a hate group called Moms for Liberty.
Ugh.
And which is,
those people.
Exactly.
Mm-hmm.
And so she's utilizing her supposed child story to state that by having her child share a locker room and to also combat some misinformation. This locker room has private bathrooms in it. The family has been given multiple options. They are just trying to state that trans people are the problem, that a trans middle schooler is a predator for existing. There has been no force. There has been none of these other things that this mother is trying to perpetuate. But at the end of the day, we know the right-wing side is full of propaganda and misinformation in order to incite rage that is simply untrue. And so that's one of our missions at Trans Upfront is to combat misinformation. Our trans kids deserve to be seen, validated, and grow up to be the incredible humans they will be and be able to interact every day in their education just like anyone else in a safe space.
What kind of tools do you use to help with their morale and their spirits when, they're getting attacked from all ends?
Yeah, there are so many tactics that we take. For instance, I am the admin and founder of a Facebook group and Discord that's specifically for parents of trans individuals in the state of Illinois. We share resources. We are 100% free advocacy services. So we meet with parents one-on-one. We will go to the school board with them. We'll go to meetings with them, do their gender support plans. But we also offer twice a month town halls where we give information on executive orders as well as updates based on judges' rulings, access to medical care, affirming providers, school. Basically, whatever people ask us for, we do the research for them because we know information is power. Information is 100% power because if you're navigating the situation alone, it can be overwhelming. Sure. And another thing that we do is my daughter is a trans person. She's 13. She is an incredible activist in her own right. And she leads a group called There Are Trans Kids Among Us. And it's trans kids playing among us, but they all meet on Zoom. And a lot of them have never met another trans kid before. They're from all over the state, and we've now just opened nationally, in which they get on Zoom. They talk about being trans. They talk about their interactions in school. They talk about how they're feeling about medical care, comparing stories and having that sense of community at the ages of 8, 9, 10, young teens, older teens, while also bonding over a video game because they deserve peers as well that they can talk to freely.
Yeah, because they're kids and they play video games, and that's what we got to look out for them. And that is brings us to what's taking action. So next Sunday, you are organizing a march and protest at Federal Plaza starting at 1:00. What is on the docket?
Oh my goodness! So yes, next Sunday, we are just overwhelmed with so much, right? We have all of these incredible endorsing organizations. We have a full lineup of inspirational speakers ranging from Commissioner Precious Brady Davis to, local advocates, as well as the CEO of Brave Space Alliance, of Life is Work, Myself will be speaking as well, representatives from Equality Illinois. We have a group of trans teenagers who are leading our moment of silence for those that we have lost or are missing within our trans community. All of it is about empowerment, but it's also about demanding. You know, we have put together as a coalition a mission statement and a demand, not only for us locally here in Illinois, but across the nation, that we deserve access, equal access to our rights, because trans rights are human rights. And that will be after the program, we will lead a march through downtown. We are expecting upward of 10,000 people to be joining with us in unity. And one of the things I've been telling people, if you don't belong to the trans community and you see yourself as an ally, remember, being an ally is an action word. What have you done recently to stand up with our community? What have you done recently to stand with us? Even if you can't be there on the 30th, repost. Spread the word, support a trans organization. We have Trans Day of Visibility on the 31st. Our organization just launched our first funding campaign. We are completely unfunded, self-funded in the work that we do, yet we serve hundreds of families across the state with volunteers to be able to get them those resources. So, you know, again, if you are an ally or a member of the community and you want to show that you stand with us, show up. Spread the word, even if you can't. Support an organization such as ours as we continue to do this work.
Yes, and let me say, in these times where things are not normal and people are not out on the street, that's normalizing not normal. So go out. I love, as soon as you said that ally is a verb, right into my head the song going, "What have you done today to make you feel proud?" has been going through my head. So be proud. And next Sunday, March 30th at Federal Plaza at 1 o'clock, join the March for Trans Visibility. For more information, go to transupfrontil.com for more info. Asher, you are a ding dong rainbow, and I am so proud of the work that you are doing, and go kick some butt next week.
Thank you, Asher. We appreciate you.
I really appreciate it. Thank you for the visibility and the boost here with Out Chicago. We hope to see you there.
All righty. All right. Hey, listen, we have got to take a quick break, and when we come back, it is the second hour of Out Chicago right after this, so stick around.
I'd like to welcome you to WCPT AM's Out Chicago. Think of us as Sunday brunch with your gay best friends. Now please welcome your host, Scott Duff.
Welcome back to the second hour of Out Chicago. Scott Duff here, along with Ella Miller, just rolling along, doing our things. Getting ready for a march here. Just a reminder, next Sunday, March 30th at Federal Plaza at 1 o'clock. Join the March for Trans Visibility. It's brought to you, the hosts are Trans Upfront Illinois and Indivisible Chicago, along with over 40 endorsing agencies. For more information, go to visit transupfrontil.com. It's important.
It is.
It is important. It is important. Also, hey, this week, we're trying to keep everybody all informed and all this stuff. So tomorrow on Choose Views, Richard's guests will be National Hellenic Museum trustee Andrea Darlis and Sarah Jones, managing editor and co-publisher at Politics USA. Also this week, Richard will be talking to author and diversity, equity, and inclusion expert Dante King, Chicago historian and activist Michelle Duster, Illinois State Representative Edgar Gonzalez Jr., and State Senator Christina Castro. Lots coming up, so make sure you don't miss a moment. Choose Views, weekdays from 6 to 8 a.m. Central on WCPT 820 a.m., the Heartland Signal website, TuneIn, YouTube, and Facebook. We got it covered.
We do.
Yeah.
We do.
All over the place. And we've got a really great second hour for you, filled with some artsy-fartsy and activism, artivism. That's what I'm going to say. Artivism.
Like
a little bit later, we are going to be speaking with acclaimed librettist Royce Vavrick about the opening of their new opera at Lyric Opera Chicago called The Listeners. And it's happening today, actually. But before we do that, look, you know how much I love About Face Theater.
Of course.
Yes.
We do. We all do.
Full disclosure, I'm an artistic associate of About Face Theater. Yeah, and About Face Theater is continuing to celebrate 30 years of queer theater with the return of Regeneration Studio, a weekend of community building, education, and performance to help build the future of queer theater. And joining us once again on this show is the wonderfully talented, amazing, smart, brilliant, fabulous artistic director of About Face Theater, Megan Carney. Hello, Megan.
Hey, Megan. Nice to hear your
Hey,
voice.
Ellen. Hey, Scott. So good to be with you today.
I'm
to
so
have you.
glad that you are here. How are you, my friend?
Oh, my gosh. I'm doing well. I'm taking it a day at a time. I'm staying connected with my people and communities, making sure not to, isolate and let despair creep in. So I'm doing okay.
All
How
right.
are you?
I am hanging in there, not going to let go.
Yeah.
that is it. And I'm so glad that you're bringing up the whole point about community and the importance of community. I'm trying to do the same thing. Trying to be with my peeps and have my voice heard when I can, and also find moments of joy, and particularly queer joy, wherever I can find it.
Yep.
Yep. So can you?
That's the mantra.
Yep
is the mantra.
There we go. Can you remind listeners about the mission of About Face Theater?
Absolutely. Yeah. About Face Theater is all about advancing LGBTQ plus equity. And the way we do that is through community building, education, and performance. And as you mentioned in your intro, 30 years.
I know.
Going 30 years strong.
My brain can't handle it. It's so weird and amazing.
Yeah, and that mission, of course, has evolved, and the way the work has been showing up has evolved over that time. We've all changed. Our understanding around gender and sexuality has evolved, and the political moment keeps shifting, So for a company, as you know, you were there in the founding days. Like, you understand that original impulse to do it, and it's really incredible to be a part of the celebration year and say, like, wow, the evolution is the key, just the organization keeps kind of shifting and adjusting.
Yeah. I really think that's one thing that I'm so beyond proud to call About Face Theater my artistic home, because when we did, 30 years ago when we started, it really was all about visibility, just showing people like stories, histories, lives, and experiences, and the continual evolution and I guess just by our mere existence at the time, it was political, and now moving into tackling larger issues and having more of a voice. It really is wonderful. And to all of the leadership over the years, it's like
Truly.
Hat tip to all of you, and to all the amazing artists that have walked through those doors. Holy smokes.
Absolutely. Yeah. Hundreds of people who made the company what it is.
Yeah, it's incredible.
Yeah.
And now continuing on with that legacy, we've got the return of Regeneration Studio. So what is in store for that?
Yeah, awesome. Well, I just love this program so much. This came about coming out of the pandemic. As we all know, arts moved online. A lot of artists had to really change up how they were doing their work. And when we got to sort of emerge and come back into live performance mode, I started talking to people like, how are you doing? How's your practice changed? What do you need? And what I kept hearing over and over from people was like, I just need that space to refresh, to recharge, to reinvent, to try some different ideas. And that's really where Regeneration Studio came from, was really this express need around, can we just get back together again and try out some things? And so, it's about new work development, but it's also about professional development and networking and community meetups. And I really feel like, this year there's something for everybody, whether or not you even identify as a formal artist. If you are a curious person, there's a lot for you to just show up and have a great time. It's a combination of readings of new plays, with the playwrights and directors and amazing Chicago actors participating, bringing these new plays to life, and then in discussion with the audience around themes or questions or where it's going. And then we also have a couple other really special meetups that I wanted to talk about as well. Because
that's what I want to hear about. Yeah.
Okay, cool. And this is all on our website too, but we're featuring a couple special things. One is a town hall for directors and theater makers. So wherever you are in your career experience, you want to know more about directing. What we've noticed is that, as companies have closed and changed in Chicago, we've really lost some of those spaces for directors to really develop new work or try new ideas or even get a foothold in the field. So we want to hear from people, what's missing? What would be helpful? What kind of spaces do you need? What kind of support do you need? And that's going to be a town hall format on Saturday. And what our plan is to organize everything that we hear from that and then share that out and hopefully build some new things and new spaces and programs for people. We've also got a couple other things along those lines. I heard you all giving a shout out for that rally on Sunday.
Mm-hmm.
And so I want to connect that dot to right after that in the afternoon. And sidebar, all of this is happening at the Goodman Theater, right in the Loop.
Right, yeah. Right.
So
you can go protest and come on over.
Yeah, perfect.
So that's what I'm thinking, because the Sunday programming is about theater and liberation, learning and liberation through the arts. We're going to be having a teaching artist meetup. We're going to be premiering a new touring show called Life Out Loud, Voices of Pride. And we've got a special workshop with Chicago Therapy Collective that offers a Training in Higher Trans Now campaign to really think about how to transform your organization to be trans inclusive, and really walking through, people might think, oh, I already know what that's about. I know what to do. Let me tell you, these folks have insights and ways to advance equality and equity in the workplace that's really eye-opening and super helpful. So that's available Sunday afternoon in the Loop. And if folks are going to be down at that rally, it'd be great to connect the dots and let's all be together around this. And, I think there's some real opportunities to, transform how we're doing our work together and really strengthen our community as a result.
Absolutely. Megan, are you finding that in this era that we are in right now, this horrible, crazy, unsettling era, especially for LGBTQ, emphasis on the T, that artists are more inspired than ever to create? Are you seeing more and more works as coming out of this dysfunctional government that we have right now that is creating so much havoc for us?
Right. I think there's definitely a lot of activity. I think that artists are, in addition, writing more and writing in response and kind of naming what's going on, also coming up with really cool ideas and of ways to produce. So it doesn't always have to be, the full production of a show for a 5-week run. It could be a special event that happens over a couple weekends, or it could be a one night only come together, listen to these amazing stories, and let's be together. I think that people are being very inventive about getting stories out and using that as fuel, for connecting. So I think that's a really good insight. Yeah.
Good to hear.
And I'm sure with these workshops, you'll be inspiring folks to continue the discussion around queer art and the importance of queer art and just arts in general in society.
Oh,
go ahead.
Is working and whatnot. It can be scary, and you could lose your courage. If you feel like, oh, I'm over here on my own, I'm kind of getting lost and caught up in this. I think the advantage of staying in the conversation and just being in the room with people is you keep that courage, to say, no, we're here, we exist. We're resisting this. We're using our voices. We're using these platforms. We're going to keep going, because that's what we've always done, right? That's what we've always done.
Yep. We're very good at adapting.
Just when you think that, things are, changing and, you started out when the need was so great to have these voices of LGBTQ voices and out there, and then things kind of plateaued, and then here we are again. We need you more than ever. We need groups like About Face more than ever, because the only way to combat this is to spread the word and be a community that stays together and keeps the fight going as a group.
Yeah, thanks for saying that. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Well, and along with the workshops, you mentioned there are going to be some readings of new works. Can you tell folks a little bit about those?
Absolutely. So, when a play is getting developed, like sometimes the playwright wants to be off on their own, kind of scrolling away. And I'm just so grateful to these writers who have said, yes, like I will share this work, even though I still have questions about it, and let us kind of come in and hear it in this public way. So Brynna Turner has written a new play, and Ira Fromm introduced me to this. It's called Phases of the Moon. So we're able to bring Brynna in from New York. Some folks might remember Bull in a China Shop that Brynna wrote and Kira directed, and we were able to produce that at Theater Wit. And this is the full descriptions are on the website. But for this one, when I heard the poet Elizabeth Bishop set in a college and she's wearing a pea coat and they're talking about socialism, I was like, let's learn more.
Right? Come on.
So we're kicking off Friday night with that play at 6 p.m. And we'll have a little reception around that. That'll be a really sweet way to start off this festival. Saturday, amidst the workshops that we're doing, we also have two plays. One is Michael Turrentine, written by Michael Turrentine, directed by Catherine Miller. People might know Michael as a performer and a podcast host, and also
an amazing human being, truly the biggest light of sunshine ever to exist.
Honestly, it's so true, though. And the title of this work is Untitled Queer Romance, or The Subject of You. And it's just sort of gorgeous, lots of couples kind of exploring relationships and the journey and sort of getting at those questions around connection and what makes us, connect and stay with people, and the journeys that we have together. So that's the second one. The third and final play reading is written by R. Eric Thomas, directed by Michael Burke. It's called An Army of Lovers. And R. Eric Thomas wrote the terrific play Time is on Our Side that we produced a handful of years ago at Theater Wit. And I was so excited when he reached out with this new play. I was excited to pass it to you, Scott, and that you said yes, that you would be one of the cast members for this reading.
Oh, my goodness.
Cannot wait. I wonder, do you want to share what your reaction was as you read this play?
Yeah, you sent me, I was thrilled and honored that you reached out and be like, hey, would you be able to do this reading? And like, here's the script, read it. And I was like, okay, let me give it a read and I'll let you know. It was like a Monday. I'll let you know by Friday. I read the first act, and then I immediately emailed you I just read Act 1. I don't know what else is happening, but I'm totally in. Please come in. It is so oddly prescient, and it offers a bleak view at, how would you describe it?
Kind of a corporatization,
corporatization of America.
Over and how do we stay in our integrity? And also I love how intergenerational it is, and how these activists from a former generation are kind of expressing what it used to look like to be an activist, and what is it now when everything is driven by technology and everything. And in this moment when we're all looking at, economic boycotts and how do you strike back against these massive global corporations that seem to suddenly be running everything, and not suddenly, but,
Yeah.
This play really does kind of get at the heart of that, of where do we stand on all this? And I just think all three of these plays are going to spark a lot of great conversation for folks. And, we've left a lot of space for the writers and the directors and the actors to kind of discover some things and invite us in on that. So I think I do want to say one other thing. All the readings, they're about love and they're about connection and they're about our humanity, and they're not sort of stewing in sort of the trauma or the fear of the moment, but they're really in the power of the moment. And I think that was ultimately why these three rose up, and felt like, oh, these are the stories we want to be putting out in the world right now.
Speaking of putting out in the world, Megan, and I know we're running short of time, but have you thought of taking shows like this to other markets, schools, high schools in places that may not have access to this kind of material that could, really open up the eyes and hearts of people?
Oh, that's I love that you're saying that. We do have a touring program with material that's ready to go to schools or into a corporate boardroom or into a community center. And there's a couple of projects that we've got ready to go right now, but one that we're going to feature on Sunday, Life Out Loud, Voices of Pride, has stories from the past, but also is about a younger generation kind of discovering those. Mm-hmm. And it's very interactive to really get young folks, but really audiences of any age, in discussion about this moment, but the value of history and legacy, and really making sure that we're passing that along. Yes. So I'm glad you brought that up, because we're always interested in talking with people, and we are ready to travel with a variety of workshops and that show in particular.
Yeah, I think you could do a lot of good with that and sharing the message. So good luck with that. If anybody wants to fund them, get in touch with Megan, give them money for a grant, and get this message out to markets and to people that don't get to see the kind of diversity that About Face Theater presents. So.
For sure. And if you need a little gateway drug into About Face Theater, make sure you go to the Regeneration Studio, which will be held March 28th through the 30th, with free events at the Alice at the Goodman Theater, partnering with an iconic institution here. All events and workshops are free and open to the public, and attendees are really encouraged to register in advance at aboutfacetheater.com/registration. Or you can just do it in person, just kind of show up. Megan Carney, so grateful for all the incredible work that you do. So very proud to call you friend. And I cannot wait to dive into this play. It's
awesome.
So good.
Oh, thank you for that. And it's always great to talk with you too. You're doing such a service for all of us with this show, and really giving us a chance to be in community and amplify all the good stuff that's happening around our city. So really appreciate you so much.
I learned it from watching you. Megan Carney, our district director of About Face Theater. Thank you so much, and we'll see you at the Goodman.
Sounds good. Take care.
All right, we're going to take a quick break, and when we come back, we are going to be speaking with a celebrated librettist, Royce Vavrick, whose new opera, The Listeners, is opening at Lyric Opera of Chicago tonight. So stick around. You're listening to Out Chicago right here on WCPT.
We're comedy duo Pink Pony. Welcome to Out Chicago on WCPT.
Welcome back to Out Chicago, where we tend to be a little fartsy sometimes. Mm-hmm. Not just artsy-fartsy, sometimes fartsy. But today we're being really artsy.
Yes, we are.
I'm very, very excited about this because The Listeners, a new opera by Missy Mazzoli and Royce Vavrick, opens tonight and runs through April 11th at Lyric Opera of Chicago. If you have never been to the Lyric Opera, run, don't walk, because it is an experience. Mm-hmm. And joining us now is celebrated librettist Royce Vavrick. Royce, welcome to the show. Hello, Royce. Can you hear us?
I can.
Oh,
Hello.
there we are. Hello. How are
There
you?
we are.
There we go.
Thank you so much for having me.
Oh, well, thank you for
absolutely.
taking time out. And first of all, congratulations. I know the listeners premiered it, I believe, in Oslo and then had a run at Opera Philadelphia. Are you all ready for tonight?
Well, you're jumping the gun just a little bit because we actually don't open for a week. We
Oh.
open next Sunday.
Oh.
And the premiere is at 2 p.m., so it's not even an evening performance. You can come, you can enjoy the show, and you can be in bed by 7 p.m. if you want.
Yeah, I think I was just excited for March to be over that I just jumped the gun, Royce.
Totally makes sense.
I'm so sorry. Thank you for clearing that
No
up.
worries.
Right on.
No, people have more time to get their tickets and come and join us.
Yes, 100%, especially for something new and exciting, like contemporary opera. Can you tell folks, because people have been describing it as a thriller, which I don't think people necessarily put that together with opera, or the many opera aficionados will say most operas are thrillers. It's thrilling events and highs and lows. Can you just give a brief synopsis of the story of the listeners? Premiering next Sunday. Next Sunday.
The 30th.
At 2.
So The Listeners is an opera about a American school teacher named Claire who hears a low-frequency noise that just completely takes over her life. It ruins everything. She can't sleep. It's driving her crazy at work. It's just exacerbating everything. And she has a student in her class who also hears a sound, but this is a sound that like 99% of the population doesn't hear. And so they go on a quest to try to figure out what the source of the hum is, this sound, and they find that there is a community action group in their sort of suburb, and they go and they involve themselves, hoping that this will be a group of people that are like-minded, that are going to hopefully solve this problem. But it turns out that it's really just the beginnings of a cult, and there is a leader who is using this as a way to really abuse people that come and are looking for solace and help. So that's the sort of meat and potatoes. But it is a thriller in the sense that there is a massive psychological journey, and everybody seems to have needs and desires and all those things that they're trying to figure out, and so it is a pretty muscular, psychological driven piece, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
So yes, it is a thriller, but there's also great comedy, good drama. Like it really feels like it's a 21st century story that that you could have seen on Netflix or something. Like it feels like it connects in a very direct way like that.
Wow, sounds
100.
thrilling. So, can you talk about your collaboration with Missy Mazzoli? I mean, how did the music and the text evolve together?
Yeah, well, so opera is an interesting thing in that often it is words first. So I generally come up with a full draft of the text of the whole show, and then Missy starts composing. But then there are musical necessities that require modifications of words, and like maybe there will need to be an aria that's inserted in a place that you didn't necessarily think when you were beginning to understand the architecture of the work. But yeah, so sort of on call as a librettist. So yes, I'm working with Missy to really lean into her musical needs and desires. And so I'm sort of, it's an organic process of things sort of, yeah, there's a give and take in the writing process, but it really is words first, and then music comes, and then the words sort of shift based on the needs of the music.
And has she generally written for opera in the past, or is this a departure from what she normally does?
I forget how many operas we've written together, and I think it's like six or something.
Your sixth, yeah.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Yeah.
So she's
I know, I'm on there.
she's
Because you've got
entrenched.
to know, yeah. Go ahead, sorry.
Yeah, no. And Missy she is so talented at rendering drama through her music. So she is such a remarkable operatic composer. But Missy does write a lot of different types of music and for different forces, and not always for the opera house.
Interesting. Cool.
Yeah. So It sounds like you have found a very great artistic partner, which is a true gift, to find somebody like, oh, we click and we're able to, my partner and I like to call it dolphin speak, where you're able to just kind of like, oh yeah. And we move that, yeah, over there. And then, yes, got it. No, don't, that whole thing, the shorthand. How did this our artistic partnership come about with you and composer Missy Mazzoli?
So we met in May of 2009 at Carnegie Hall. I was doing a project, one of my first operatic outings, with another major collaborator of mine, David T. Little. And Missy came to support David and a number of other composers who were on this program, and she handed me a flyer for an opera that she was working on and about to give a presentation at this long-lost venue called Galapagos Art Space in New York. And I went and devoured this 40-minute sample of this opera. And then about a week later, Missy and I had lunch, and she asked if I would help her complete that opera.
Well, okay.
And she said, I'm not a librettist, and I've been writing the text by myself. And it was based on these diaries of Isabel Eberhardt, a wonderful Swiss explorer, back over a century ago. And so she was able to take her ideas and sort of synthesize them into songs, but then she wanted to find a bigger arc. And so I came on board, and we really just hit it off immediately. And soon thereafter, we were given the opportunity to write our first sort of a chamber opera for a major house, and that was Opera Philadelphia, and our Breaking the Waves, which has gone all over the world now. And then based on Breaking the Waves, they gave us our Grand Opera Commission to do The Listeners, and now we're working on 2 more operas that will premiere next year.
Excellent.
Yeah, I know. It's like
They're quite a team.
That's what I mean. And finding those people that you can have dolphin speak with, especially like artistic.
Absolutely.
Especially as you were discussing the writing process, where you come up with the narrative, you come up with the words, and then how it fits into the music. And it's like, we need to like this. Can I get like 4 syllables over here, or can we change this down to like 1 syllable? Like it gets very nitpicky, and being able to have that sort of camaraderie and trust with each other has got to be just such a blessing.
Oh, my goodness, yes. The nuance of all this. And even in rehearsal, we're shifting tiny little things around to make it just a little bit more perfect if we can. We're always looking to sort of make it the best version that it can possibly be in the container that it's in. So, and every time we do it, we have different cast members. And so you get to see different interpretations of roles. And Missy was actually just in Germany for the past 3 days. She dashed from Chicago to see another production of The Listeners. And one of the cast members emailed us a few months ago and said, oh, my voice is actually shifting just a little bit higher. Would you mind if I modified a couple of the pitches that you wrote just to lean into what my instrument does particularly well? And she was very open to doing that, because we want people, when the singers look great, we look great.
You're right. Yeah. I'm telling you. So this is... The state of opera is always weird, just because, so many people have a preconceived notion of what opera is. It's, horned hats and braids, and, it's above your head, like you won't be able to get it. How did you fall in love with the art form, and how are you kind of challenging those silly preconceived notions when creating contemporary opera?
That is an awesome question, and something I think about a lot, because I'm a farm boy from northern Alberta, Canada.
Okay.
I did not grow up with Canada. I did not grow up with opera. I grew up with Canada.
You grew up with Canada, yes. Apologies to your home country. Not the 51st state.
Yeah.
Please.
Not our fault.
Yes.
But we digress. Go ahead.
So my home was filled with country music, and my father played piano by ear, but he would play like the Bear Barrel Polka and Anne Marie's Could I Have This Dance, and so that was the kind of music that permeated my home, and I found opera. The internet came into my life when I was in probably maybe 11 or 12. So we did have this portal to the larger world, and I was able to explore a lot of weird musical theater stuff and opera stuff. And I had a singing teacher who exposed me to a little bit of opera, but I didn't see my first staged opera until I was 18 or 19 in Montreal. And in my mind or in my imagination, opera was sort of the antithesis of my upbringing. It was the exact opposite of the farm and baling hay and the wheat and barley and canola that my parents harvested. And so I wanted the opulence. I wanted the chandeliers of the Met and all the cool extravagance that opera, it seemed to just, it was defined by an opulence.
Yeah.
And now opera needs to be for absolutely everyone. And I feel like most of my operas could be classified as folk operas, in the sense that I write them in hopes that the audience of today is reflected in the work that I create. And so with something like The Listeners, it is a very contemporary vernacular. You don't need to read a synopsis in order to understand the whole thing. These people speak in a language that is directly accessible to them. It will sound like your mom and your best friend and your cousins are on stage, I hope. So opera needs to be something that we can see ourselves in. And it can be a place for shows about kings and queens, but it could also be a place for farmers to be rendered, or people who are hearing a low frequency,
or teachers that might be part of a cult. Who knows? You know,
exactly.
So, what message do you hope that the audiences take away from seeing The Listeners?
I don't know that there's a message so much as I think that there's something really exciting about the energy of the work, how directly it connects, or hopefully will connect. And I think that there's a lot of fun to be had in this piece. And it does talk about big themes. I'm not suggesting that it doesn't have themes that are important and that are very relevant. But this is an opera that I hope that people, when they come and see it, don't feel like they're eating their vegetables necessarily. And that even when there are those vegetable-like themes, that they're going to be just so delighted. And it's really, really, really fun. I hope that people let themselves go and allow themselves to be taken over by Claire's amazing journey, because where she starts at the end of the opera and where she ends is a pretty fascinating ride.
Cool. Now, is the production of The Listeners that's happening with Lyric Opera of Chicago, is it the same production that has the same the production values? Have they traveled the same with the show, or is this is Lyric Opera's interpretation?
No, so Lyric Opera is a co-commissioner of the work.
That's right.
And they commissioned it with Opera Philadelphia and the Norwegian National Opera. And so those three presentations have all been the same set and the same costumes, with different casts. But we have had the same lead. We've had Nicole Heaston, who is just a complete and utter genius, inhabiting the role of Claire for the entirety of those three presentations. But otherwise, the work has had different performers in the roles. And so, yes, the production is exactly the same. With, they have to be modified a slight bit based on the dimensions of the stage, but you will see the same production that Liliana Blaine Cruz built with her collaborators for Oslo, then transferred to Opera Philadelphia and now to the Lyric Opera Chicago.
Yes, I've been looking at some PR images, and boy, oh boy, does it look great. It's just
cool.
It's really cool. So, look, again, as Royce said, opera should be for everyone. Right. So, and I was talking about gateway drugs earlier. So let's talk about gateway drugs to opera. Make sure you go and you check out The Listeners, a brand new opera by Missy Mazzoli and Royce Favrick. It opens next week,
the 30th.
Next week, the 30th. The 30th at 2 p.m.
Time to buy tickets.
And runs through April 11th at Lyric Opera of Chicago. For more information, go to lyricopera.org. Royce Favrick, thank you so much for joining us today. And toy.
Toy.
Thank you. Thank you.
We're going to take a quick break, and when we come back, it is the final thrilling show-stopping moments about Chicago right here on WCPT Heartland Signal.
I'm Jen Grosshandler.
And I'm Chazzy Grosshandler.
We're with the Gender Cool Project, and you're listening to
Out Chicago.
Woot!
Woot! Woot! Love those folks from the Gender Cool Project.
So do I.
Amazing stuff. Amazing stuff. Hey, also amazing stuff. Monday on Live, Local, and Progressive, Joan Esposito will be joined by Joe Garofoli, senior political writer at the San Francisco Chronicle, democracy expert Greta Bandikovics of the Center for American Progress, and ACLU of Illinois Communications Director Ed Yonka. Also this week, Joan will be talking to Skye Perryman, the president and CEO of Democracy Forward, and professors John Murphy, Shai Feldman, and Marjorie Hershey.
Love.
So tune in to Live, Local, and Progressive 2 to 5 right here on WCPT. Oh, and also, so WCPT celebrating 20 years.
20 years, folks.
It's so funny. All of these big institutions have been celebrating these milestones. We got Goodman's
50.
coming up with their 100th season. Steppenwolf is getting ready for their 50th. About Face and Rivendell. There's a ton of things. Our 30th right now. And now WCPD is it's our 20th anniversary. And there are a few tickets that are still available for a May 3rd anniversary broadcast at Max and Benny's Restaurant, Deli and Bakery in Northbrook. Hal Sparks, Richard Chu, Jen Esposito, Patty Vasquez,
Scott Duff.
Little old me is going to be there. Hopefully, if things work out, Ellen Miller will make a guest appearance. You know, we're going to be broadcasting live from 11 a.m. to 3 p.m. with special guests.
It's going to be very special.
I know.
20th anniversary. Wow.
Can't believe.
We've been here 12 of them.
So weird. It's so bananas. And we'll still learn more and get your tickets by visiting heartlandsignal.com/anniversary. Tickets are $20 each. Do you see what they did?
Oh,
2020. All right. Well, hurry. They're almost gone. So the event is being sponsored by Smart 265 and Southland Friends of Labor.
Fantastic.
So it should be a wonderful, good time. And as long as we're doing some shameless self-promotion. Did you know that we're finally at long last, you can find our podcast. We got 2 different ones too. We've got Out Chicago full episodes and featured interview podcasts. And they're both available on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, TuneIn, iHeartRadio, YouTube, and Amazon. Search for Out Chicago or get the links on the show page by visiting heartlandsignal.com and clicking on our little picture.
Don't
our
you love
little
when people
mug.
say, yes, sorry to interrupt.
No, it's it. Just our little mug. Just click on it.
You know, people say, I'm sorry I missed your show. I go, you don't have to be sorry. You can hear the whole show. You can hear interviews. You can hear whatever you want.
I know. Half the people that I run into, they think that we're a podcast anyway.
I know. Everything's like a they don't understand
it's
radio.
A podcast. There's actual radio.
There's still radio going. Thank goodness.
What?
Yeah.
What? Wow. Mm-hmm. Yeah. So, yes. So there we go. I think that's all.
That's it. Those are all for our special announcements.
I guess those are our special announcements. Yeah. No, I have nothing. Well, I've got the stuff coming up with the Regeneration Studio this week.
Good.
This weekend down at Goodman Theater. Goodman Theater. So doing that. This play is really, really good. Ooh. Army of Lovers. It's, I was reading going, what? Oh, what? Oh, it's,
Perfect.
Yeah, it's a little dark.
Oh,
which I like.
Well, you like that.
Yeah. People don't let me do dark.
Because
I'm the funny guy. I'm the funny guy.
Funny guys do dark better than anybody.
We do, because we're so sad on the inside.
Look at Bill Murray and look at so many other. Look at Robin Williams. I mean, it's amazing how comedians can do a great job.
It's because there's truth in comedy, and you have to be truthful.
That's true.
Yeah, look at Melissa McCarthy. That what was that movie where she was Lee? What's her butt?
Oh yeah.
She was nominated for her second Academy Award nomination.
So good.
So good.
Heavy.
Poop. Now I gotta look it up. I'll look it up.
But I'm picturing the movie.
I'll look it up. What are you up to this week?
I am up to recovering still with my surgery. Eyeballs. I did see Suzanne Vega on Wednesday.
You know, somebody came through the Snack Factory and said that they were going to go see that.
Oh, so good.
How was she?
She is still so great. The performance was good. Her conversation in between songs. You forget how many great songs she had. I worked in rock, progressive rock radio at the time, and we played the heck out of her. She was a big artist for WXRT.
Look, I loved 99.9 Fahrenheit degrees.
She did it. She did that song. She did
that song?
Oh, of course.
Oh, yeah. I love that album. That was like a quintessential album of mine.
And Tom's Diner, which has been sampled in rap and hip hop. And she looks great. She's 65 or something, 63, I think. She looks fantastic. She sounded wonderful. She had a guitarist with her and a cellist, woman named Stephanie Winters, who I met before the show, because the merch guy wanted to touch my shirt because it was soft.
Was it that blue? Your Muppet Couture?
Yeah.
I love that sweater. It's so good.
So and she's playing again tonight at the Old Town School. It could be sold out, but my motto about sold out shows, there's always a ticket. There's always a ticket. Somebody always has to cancel for one reason or another. So if you're a Suzanne Vega fan, go see her tonight.
So sad I didn't go.
Oh, yeah.
Because it started at 8, right?
It started at 8.
Yeah, I had to work until 8. Although it was just down the street. I could have just.
She started at 10 after.
Oh.
And you would not have missed 99.9
Fahrenheit degrees.
But it's nice to see women aging beautifully.
Did she do Blood Makes Noise?
She didn't.
I love that song.
I do too. I forgot about that
blood
song.
Makes noise.
I love that
ringing
song.
in my ear. Mm-hmm.
She did a promotion years ago for Tom's Diner, and I was involved with it working at XRT. And there was a place called the Fog City Diner downtown I think it was off of LaSalle. The guys from Shuba's had it. So we had the idea of doing, or probably the record company and XRT. So she did this show. We had a luncheon concert where people won tickets.
Oh, like Tiny Desk concerts.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
And I remember I was sitting at the table right in front of the stage and just watching her and just so enamored and engrossed in her show, and still was here all these years later.
Fabulous.
So, yeah.
So wait, so she had one Wednesday and then another one?
Because the Tonight Show was the original show. It sold out very quickly.
So they added
one. She went to Bloomington on Thursday and St. Louis on Friday.
All right,
and
come
back
on,
to
Suzanne
Chicago,
Vega.
And this is, I believe, one of the last nights of the tour. It's
All
been
right,
like
and what a beautiful,
tour.
Intimate
Old Town School
space
is
to go see
just
it. Yeah.
really great. My only little tiny thing is, as someone that's a little more petite and 5'3", the man spread that happens because there aren't delineated seats. It's a bench situation.
Oh.
So I don't like not having a seat.
Dudes, be nice.
But they don't care. I mean, they're bigger. I get it.
I know, but
but
at the same time, it's like, come on, man spreader.
I mean,
lock the knees.
My butt's not that big. I'm not asking for a ton of space.
Right, just lock the knees.
Give me like butt space.
There we go.
Butt space.
All butt space.
But that's
By
my
the way,
only
the movie
little
was called "Can You Ever Forgive Me?"
Can you ever forgive
there
me
we are.
for all
I had
the
to look that
lies
up.
that I told?
Yes, there we are.
That was a great movie.
And speaking of butt space, White Lotus. Girl.
Tonight another one drops. We'll be watching it. Wow, this fifth episode of season 3 was something.
Now, I've had some people who have some differing opinions about this season. I think it's great.
I do too. You know what? I think
I love it.
If you just watch the first 2, I kind of get it. But he's got to set the table. I mean, you got to set the table.
100%.
And I know some people that saw, and many people that said, "Well, I watched the first 2 and it just seemed same, and I didn't watch." I'm like, get back into it. Keep watching.
It's really, really great. Like the way it began. We're going to be circling back to that because I want to know what's happening on that week. But some of the performances are just knocking it. They're knocking it out of the park. One who's really surprising me is Leslie Bibb.
Yeah, she's
Leslie
great.
Bibb. She's phenomenal. There's a trio of women who are on vacation in Thailand, and she came out as a Trump supporter on it.
Her friends were
and Carrie Coon, Chicago's very own Carrie Coon, is like.
She had a great performance this past week. They all were great.
Everybody makes me nervous on that show.
I know, because somebody's gonna die. And I was listening to this podcast last night that they delve into the episode. They just completely analyze and go through every nuance of each episode. And they said maybe everybody dies. I go, I don't think that's going to happen.
You never know.
But you never know, what
especially
Mike
like with
White's
Parker
gonna do.
Posey hanging around.
My gosh, she had some lines.
Oh, the whole thing. And people are going after her for her accent is now becoming her own celebrity.
I saw that.
It's so. I mean, Papernay.
Get over it and enjoy the performance. Tsunami, Taiwan.
Yeah. It's great. And Jason Isaac, who I love him. He plays her husband.
Oh yeah. He's great too.
Yeah, and the world knows him as Lucius Malfoy from the Harry Potter movies. Like it's really great to see him.
He's got a lot of depth and breadth. The scene a lot of people are talking about, and I won't give it away, but it's Sam Rockwell.
Who was married to Leslie Bibb.
Or partners.
Well, okay.
But they're together for years. And then Goddins, is that his name? Walden Goddins, the one that plays.
Oh, yes. He's amazing.
And this is about 4.5 minute monologue that Sam Rockwell does. This is his first episode. He's popped in. And it is something you've never seen on television, I guarantee you.
It's amazing.
It is amazing. And the reaction from Walden is just, it's perfect. It's absolutely perfect.
Yeah. So if you haven't checked it out, go. And Mike White, the creator.
He was on Survivor.
Look, he took my spot on The Amazing Race.
No, he was on that too.
Yes,
That's right.
and he took my spot because Jerry and I were up for the same season. I know. And he took my spot just because he's gay and his dad is a priest.
He's gay and, yeah.
Then they were able to go and do that.
Both talented and gay, but his father was a priest, so he won.
There we are. Anyway, check it out. It's fabulous. And that brings us to the end of another Out Chicago. I want to thank all of our guests. Asher McMahon, again, reminder that there is a protest for trans rights at Federal Plaza next Sunday at 1 o'clock. Go to transupfrontil.com for more information. Also, thank you to Megan Carney and to Royce Vavrek. Amazing. Always. Amazing.
Thank you, Devin.
Paul.
Thank
amazing.
you, Paul.
There we are. Ella Miller. Amazing.
Thank you. Back at you, my friend.
I'm amazing. That's Scott Duff. And until next week,
stay proud.